Hello, it's July 24th, and we're in Romans 8 still. And just something that occurred to me this morning as I read this. Obviously, 828, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. That is a very famous verse, of course, a well-known verse, and it's used in all kinds of different ways. And what I kind of noticed this morning for the first time, maybe, is that it's actually given in a context of prayer here, and I've been thinking about prayer, reading about prayer, getting an opportunity to practice that. And actually, the book that I'm going through with some men right now is on prayer. And something that's been on my mind is just that prayer is an abiding with God, and it's a sign that we are abiding with Him when we spend a lot of time with Him in prayer, talking with Him, listening to Him, hearing from Him, knowing of our dependence on Him. All of those things are aspects of prayer and much more. And the paragraph just before 828 says this: In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us with through wordless groans, is how it says here. And He who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. And then there's an and, so it connects it. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. And so there's a connection here between prayer and God's working in our lives that I hadn't really noticed before for this verse. That the Spirit is praying for us because we don't know how to pray for ourselves, and it's then God who is working all things according to His will because we don't know what's best for us. So, how do we know how to pray? How do we know what's even good for us? Except that God works to the good for us. So, that's tremendously reassuring, but it also is motivating for prayer. Like if I don't know what is even good for me, then I better be asking God for help in that. Um, Sometimes I wish that for my kids too. And they've done that across the years too. They might come to me for advice. What should I do? What classes should I take? What should I look for in terms of a job? And we haven't had a lot of those conversations, but some of those. And I think it's good that they would ask for somebody who's a little bit further down the road from them, who has a better view of their life and than they do, maybe. I think we are tempted to look at the short term in our life and see what's best for us for the next few days or weeks or months, but not for the years ahead and in general, the general direction of our life. So God knows those things that will work together for our good in the long run. And so we should ask Him along the way, what should I do now to be prepared for what you have for me years from now? And that's a good thing, I think, to understand about dwelling in Him, abiding in Him, is that we would then hear from the Spirit and the Spirit would pray on our behalf. And then we could be confident and satisfied with the things that God does in our lives because we can be confident that He knows what is best for us. That's it.